Got everything in my mama name, but I'm Oh, okay. My thing is frozen. Have I been like live this whole time? My screen was all frozen, and I was just humming Gator boots with the matching Gucci suits. Have I been like live this whole time?
Yes.
You were watching
You were
that
you were live singing. Like the intro was going, then you just started singing, and then.
Well, since we're all here, welcome back to the Impact Lounge. You are in the number one place to be for the Impact Wrestling fan. This is the Cool Factor Podcast. I'm your host, TW, and of course, we got the man with the plan, BQ. Say what's up to the people.
Yeah. I still can't get over that intro, man. I feel like I thought you were doing that. Just try something different. I was like, he's just gonna do a little song to lead us in.
Listen, so like before we go live, I always you gotta get your juices flowing, okay? Like I learned a long time ago when I was in like 11th or 12th grade. I was a camp counselor. We used to have this program in New Haven called LEAP, where we would have like, high school kids would be the camp counselors, and then like college kids would be like the senior camp counselors. But the kids were like, just regular kids from the neighborhood. So you have groups like 9 to 11-year-olds, or like 7 to 8-year-olds, or like 12 to 14-year-olds, right? And so one of the things we would have workshops, and they'd be like, okay, well, how's it going when you're like reading to your kids? And a lot of us would be like, oh man, the kids are like looking around, and then, and they're like, not paying attention. And then the lady who was facilitating my training, she goes, that's because you're whack. She was like, you're whack. Your energy is whack. And she proceeded to go on and tell us that the energy you give to people is the energy they'll give back. So whether you're trying to read to a room full of 5-year-olds or trying to entertain random people on the internet, the energy that you give to them is the energy that they give back. So I like to bring my energy, I like to bring it up, make sure I'm having fun, because how are you going to have fun listening to me if I'm not having fun? You know what I'm saying?
There we go.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Why you being weird to me? So yeah. So look, we're gonna not necessarily touch on the show so much this week, but we're just going to talk about some general Impact Wrestling topics as people want to file in, jump into the chat, drop your comments, say what up to us, but by the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and hit that like. We want to get those likes way, way, way up for this chat. I want the likes through the roof. Everybody, if you're in this chat right now, hit the like button. Everybody drop your likes. And go ahead and share this out on your Twitter. Share it out on your Facebook, on your Instagrams. Okay, whatever you're doing. All right. Just the Black Nostalgia Nerd. What's up, man? How we doing? Everybody. Mark Mello, what's up, brother? Okay, everybody. Michael Spikes, everybody say what's up to. Listen, we're happy to have y'all. We're going to dive in here. We're going to chat about some general Impact stuff. If you guys got any particular Impact stuff on your mind, go ahead and drop it on us. We're not going to keep you too long, okay? We're just going to dive into it. So with that said, BQ, what's on your mind from the world of Impact Wrestling this week?
All right, so I pinned this comment here up from Mark Mello. Says, get well soon, Joe. Excuse me. I didn't deliver that very well at all, did I? Get well soon, Joe Doering. So this came out a little bit earlier today. I don't know exactly what time. I know I heard about it maybe 2 hours ago, that he's stepping away from wrestling for a bit. I guess he battled brain cancer several years ago. I think 6 years ago or so, and beat it. And unfortunately, it has returned. So he's stepping away from the ring for a bit. And I guess he has surgery here in the coming week. So I don't know, very broad what I read. If someone saw something different, they can drop that in the chat. But what I saw was really, really broad. We don't know what stage it's in. We don't know how early, how late they caught it. whatever, but if he's someone who has gone through it in the past, I'm sure he's been going through, periodic checks over the years, but he is focusing on his health. So he'll be stepping away from the ring, from Impact, from Violent by Design, obviously. So, we here definitely wish him the best, as all the fans do.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. I think it's one of those things, cancer is one of those things that, has touched all of us, and more than likely will at some point in one way or another. If it doesn't touch us personally, someone who we love, has been affected, so, this is one of those times when just the best thing we can do is have empathy, and just wish the best, wish for for healing and support, and just hope that he makes a full recovery. This is one of those things, there's so many things, this shouldn't even need to be said, but so many things are more important than wrestling or any type of entertainment, no matter what it might be, and this is certainly one of those things. You guys always got to remember these wrestlers, these men and women that go out there, they're risking their bodies, they're risking their health, they're being away from their families, all for our entertainment. So, when it comes time to think of them as humans, just remember they're people too, So the same way you would want somebody to, have consideration and thoughts if you were going through something, potentially life-threatening, show that same type of grace to these people as they're experiencing this stuff. So good. Best of luck to Joe Doering. Prayers and blessings to his family.
All right, so we're gonna transition here while we're waiting for a few more people to file in. This tweet came out today by Lady Frost. I'm gonna pull it up on the screen here. I'm gonna read the tweet. There's some people think that she's referring to Impact. She maybe isn't at all. Maybe it's a broad blanket statement. Maybe it's about somebody in her past. Maybe it's about one of her friends and something they're going through. So I don't want to start any rumors that, hey, this is what Frost has to say about Impact. That is not at all what I'm getting at. So let me pull that up here. This is the tweet.
Says if you were in a relationship where someone didn't care about your physical or mental well-being and didn't adequately provide for you financially, would you fight to be free from it? That's from about a week or so ago. She sent that tweet. And as we know, Lady Frost
that was today.
Oh, that's from today? Oh,
yeah,
my bad. August. Oh, that's from today. That's right. That's 30th of August. That's right. That's from today. I thought that was August 22nd. My bad.
Oh, gotcha.
Reading is fundamental. So yes.
It's military time format right there.
Proper punctuation is key. Okay. A correctly placed comma is the difference between helping your uncle jack off a horse and helping your uncle jack off a horse.
Yeah.
Okay. So think about that, people. All right. So Lady Frost with an interesting tweet, a very interesting tweet. And so I guess the question, BQ, would be, do you think that was her, subtly trying to explain her absence from Impact Wrestling? Not so subtly.
God, it's possible, as I said, I don't want to start rumors that that's what she was talking about. I'm gonna view the chat here because some people might make some comments about it. I don't know. I kind of feel like it very well could be because she very abruptly left and she was very beloved by the fan base. And I don't know, she got some opportunity pretty quick. Some people are like, oh, they did nothing with her. I'm like, she wrestled for the title like 3 times.
Did she?
You might not remember that. Yeah. Because she did the Ultimate X. She had a triple threat with Giselle and Deanna.
True.
I think
Okay.
she had another match. Well, she had a. It wasn't the Impact Knockouts Championship. It was the Ring of Honor or the AAA
Ah,
with Deanna 1-on-1. So I don't think I can ever call it the Knockouts World Championship, man. Obviously, that all happened. That all stemmed from when the Impact title was on AEW TV, and they were just calling it the Impact Championship.
yeah.
And then the Impact Women's Championship on WWE. So all of a sudden, it's like, okay, everything's the world title now.
Right. Because it's one of those things where, you know, let's not act like those weren't slights of disrespect, intentional slights of disrespect coming from WWE and AEW. Like, bro, I almost just right there. I almost went off on a Tony Khan rant. By the way, if you guys are interested in hearing me rant on Tony Khan and AEW, Talking About Pie will be dropping probably tomorrow because I just I'm had it up to I'm at my wits end with the nonsense going on with AEW, and I gotta let it flow. So, but anyway, but that's a perfect example. That's a perfect example of like the type of stuff that I'll be talking about. Like, why when you're AEW, why do you need to try and downplay the Impact World Championship by calling it the Impact Championship? You know what I mean? And if you think about it, I remember specifically when they used to have the when Serena Deeb had the NWA Women's World Championship, they went out of their way to say specifically verbatim the NWA World Women's Championship or whatever it was they were calling it. Like they made it a point to say it like that. So the fact that and by the way, this goes back to Scott D'Amore, okay? Right? The Forbidden Doormat, Scott D'Amore. But like he does nothing to protect the brand of Impact in these situations. Nothing at all, man. And like why would you let you're not going to control WWE, you're not going to tell them what to do, but like bro, like he has let Tony Khan and AEW just like piss all over Impact Wrestling in every possible way. Like I don't know, man. I don't know. But yeah, so back to Lady Frost. Yeah, I mean, so let me ask you this. Based on the things she described in that tweet, do you think those are things that could apply to working at Impact Wrestling?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what does Jim Ross always say? It always comes down to egg sucking dog. No, he said it always comes down to creative, cash, and
right.
it's another C. I can't think what it is. Control, maybe. I don't know.
I know the cash and creative. Cash, creative, or cunt hairs.
Yeah, there we go. Nailed it. Bingo. So yeah, I mean, yeah, man, it's really really possible. I mean, we're speaking hypothetically here because we don't know if that's what she was talking about. We don't have a clue. But she left very abruptly. A lot of people were saying, "Oh, she left on good terms. What a nice tweet she put out." I read her tweet as very like, "Be careful what you say about your ex-employer because your future employer might see it." That's how I viewed the tweet that she put out.
I didn't. I completely viewed that as a stab at Impact Wrestling. I completely and totally viewed that as she's tired of people tweeting her and saying, "Why haven't we seen you on Impact?" And she doesn't want to come back out. She doesn't want to come back and be like, "Look, they asked me to work 4 matches a night and they don't pay shit." She didn't want to say that.
No,
So
I mean her initial tweet I was referring to when she's like, "Hey, I asked for my release."
right.
It's just it was standard. Thanks for whatever she said. But yeah,
Right. Like she hasn't publicly trashed Impact, at least not to this point. She hadn't been publicly trashing Impact. So I mean, I don't blame her for this tweet. You know what I mean? Like, because listen, I'm pro labor. I am pro labor in labor / company disputes. I am 9 times out of 10, I can't imagine what that 10th time will be, but never say never. I am almost always pro labor. So if you don't feel that the working conditions are adequate, and listen, like a lot of people also don't believe that you should care whether or not your employer gives a shit about you, but a lot of people do, because I've worked for situations where it's just like you just feel like these people are just the worst people, and it depends on the type of person you are. Some people are just very like, I'm focused, long as my direct deposit hit, I don't give a fuck. But some people are like, you know what, these people suck, they hate me, I hate them, and this makes my workday bad. You know what I mean? And like, I get that, I totally get that. So if she's the type of person where she's like, you know, look, my employer doesn't care about my well-being, especially when you do a physical job, right? I mean, like, listen, lots of employers don't care about your well-being, okay? But lots of employers aren't asking you to do a fucking triple moonsault off of a top rope, you know what I mean, 4 times a night in front of 150 people. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, I can tell everybody's different. But some people say to themselves, if you're going to ask so much, you should pay more. And I can't blame anybody who feels that way.
Yeah, and what's wild is, I was talking to you off the air the other day about someone who recently interviewed with them, and he was told by them, "Oh, we make $1 million a month off YouTube." I think they might make $1 million a year. If they made $1 million a month, we wouldn't be having these conversations about wrestler pay.
Right.
I don't know all the overhead and all the shit, what television costs and their venue and the ins and outs of their contracts. None of us know that. But they're a small enough company that if they had a revenue of $1 million a month, and that's profit too, because YouTube doesn't cost nothing for them to put a video up, then we wouldn't be having these conversations. So I have a hard time. I obviously don't know for sure. I have a hard time believing that.
Yeah.
I used to have I used to have access to like any YouTube channel, and you could get like a general idea of what they made a year.
Mm-hmm.
And theirs was $1 million for the year. So I just have a hard time. I don't know.
Maybe they have a ton of subscribers to the Impact Insiders. Okay, even though they never advertise it on the show, or they never really promote it on their social media. Maybe they have $1 million worth of subscribers to the Impact Insider. You never know.
Yep, very true. We don't know. I'm assume they don't have that many, but
yes, it's less than likely.
Yeah.
Man, oh God. So you know what? I feel like this is kind of a natural segue into another rumor that you and I were chatting about a little bit, and I'm sure a lot of people have actually heard about this rumor, but we're gonna kind of we're gonna chat, we're gonna bat it around a little bit right here. So I'm sure you've seen the rumors online that Conrad Thompson and Jeff Jarrett are potentially looking to purchase Impact Wrestling. How do you feel about that? Do you think that would be if this were not just a rumor, if this wasn't just something somebody was, making up, if this was something that was really potentially gonna happen, do you think that'd be a good thing for Impact Wrestling? Do you think that'd be good for the fans? Would you be in favor of it? What do you think about the idea of Conrad and Jeff Jarrett purchasing Impact?
I would be in favor of it because you look at track records, and we chat about this a lot on our episodes when we say, hey, when Jeff Jarrett was here, the digital content was cracking, and they were doing different things. They were getting people engaged. It wasn't just let's post, Christopher Daniels matches and try to get clicks. It was a completely different social strategy, digital strategy, very, very different. He's good at promoting. Conrad Thompson is good at promoting. They did that, the Ric Flair's last match thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the place was packed, probably sold out. It looked like, I didn't watch the show, but I've seen clips, and it looks like you're watching AEW or WWE or something like that. I mean, the place was. Do you know what the attendance was? Any idea?
No, but it looked like there was probably, if I had to guess, about 1,500 people there.
That was
between
1,500?
700 and 1,500.
No,
which is like double. That's a wide range.
That place was packed. I don't think it was like an arena.
It wasn't a big arena. It was like a small arena. Did you hear some attendance numbers?
No, but I'm gonna look it up here because there's no way it was that little. There's no way
1,500 is not little. That's a good amount of people.
I know, but that's like what Bound for Glory does. I mean, there's no way. But anyway, I'm gonna type here as I'm as I'm talking. I would be in favor because those are guys who have the track record that they would put the necessary elbow grease into the company.
Right.
I think they know what they're doing. I think Anthem would, I saw some people in chat groups saying, oh, Impact is not for sale, and I'm just like, those motherfuckers, Ed Norholm will sell that tonight if the price is right. I'm sure of it. So I'm looking at the attendance here, 10,541.
No way.
$500,000.
No way.
Dude, that was, yes.
10,
I was going to say
people?
was it upwards of 10,000.
What's the source here?
SE Scoops. Which is
SE Scoops. The SE Scoops is solid. And they saying there was 10,000 people in there?
Yes, at 10,500 with live gate revenue of basically $500,000.
Wow. All right. Hey, look. Whatever. If that's what it was, that didn't look like no 10,000 damn people. I'll tell you that though.
I feel like it did.
I didn't watch it. I just saw some clips that people posted online, so I didn't see the actual show. So if you saw it and you felt like it was like a big arena, like an episode of Dynamite, I'll take your word for it.
I don't know if it was like what the size of the venue was, but it looked like an episode of Dynamite.
Yeah.
So
all right. So they did 10,000 for Ric Flair's last match. Okay. So the question is, what could they do with Impact, right? Because here's the thing. Like, I believe that Impact could still be something. Like, Impact does have a very damaged brand name, but I've mentioned this many times before. Many times before. When Impact was canceled by Spike TV, which, in my opinion, if you had to put a pin, if you had to bookmark when Impact Wrestling, the apex of the death of Impact Wrestling, I would say that was it, right? The day that the news came out that Spike TV was canceling Impact Wrestling, I would say that was, the day you could say, it was like it fulfilled all of the horrible rumors, that had been constantly going on about Impact Wrestling. Like, that was it. You know what I mean? I would say that the day Impact Wrestling died would be the day that Spike TV announced they were canceled. But that was 2014. Okay? That was 8 years ago. So there's a 15-year-old wrestling fan, a 16-year-old wrestling fan that was 7 or 8 years old when that happened. They have no recollection of that. They have no recollection of LOL TNA, right? Like, that's just, there's a new younger fan that Impact Wrestling needs to be going after. And what are they doing to go after that fan? Nothing, right? Now, Conrad and Jeff Jarrett may not be the people to go after that younger fan, because Conrad certainly plays to the, 40-ish, male, certain demographic. You know what I mean? Like, Conrad Conrad caters to a specific demographic, and I'm sure Jeff Jarrett is right in that wheelhouse. But one thing they would do is create some positive buzz for Impact. And for as much as Scott D'Amore has gotten Impact back into the conversation of not the the dirty kid, you know what I mean, that nobody wants to hang out with, but they're more just the kid who tries to hang out with everybody, but we still pick on him because he can't defend himself. Like he's gotten Impact to a better place in terms of perception, and he deserves all the credit for that. But if you're not going to put no money behind taking it to the next level, then let somebody who does want to take it to the next level take a crack at it.
Yeah, that's the way I see it. And as I said in the very beginning, those guys have a track record of success, and I think they're a lot more forward thinking. I'm not a big like when I hear there's a wrestler, wrestling is correct, a wrestling legend that's I'm coming out of the podcast. Awesome. It's with Conrad Thompson. Oh my God. We watched Dark Side of the Ring here in the house, and Conrad, does this commentary and stuff. And my girl's like, man, that dude's so annoying. His voice, I don't like listening to the dude personally.
Yeah.
but as far as a business acumen and all that,
yeah,
I think he's got it. I think it would be that it doesn't mean they're going to take over for Scott D'Amore. They would be taking over for Ed Nordholm, which, I mean, what's he doing, man?
That's a great point. That is a great point. But here's the thing too. Here's why the downside to it would be this. I think Jeff Jarrett needs to be in the lowest level of upper management. You know what I mean? Where I think Jeff Jarrett would be good like in creative situations. I think he's very good in, marketing and promotions type situations, but he can't have any real authority because what's the last, company that he's stuck with for more than a few months? You know what
exactly.
I mean? Like you gotta, if we're gonna say that about Kylie Ray, we gotta say that about Jeff Jarrett. Okay, like not attacking any particular issues, just saying if we're gonna say at some point as a business, you gotta ask, is this person reliable or not? You got to look at the track record. And it is what it is. So that said, I'd love to have Jeff Jarrett, but he needs to be in a replaceable, expendable position. You know what I'm saying? So, but I love the point you made. Like they wouldn't be taking over for Scott D'Amore; they'd be taking over for Ed Nordholm, and I think that's where Impact could use, an influx of leadership, of talent, of money, willingness to spend said money. Listen, I think the opportunity is there. Like they already have a fan base, they have a legacy. But the problem with Impact, I would say the problem with Impact is that you have to, if you're going to work with Impact, then you're going to have to work on repairing their, the reputation. But I would also argue that that's what Scott D'Amore has been doing. Like Scott D'Amore, his whole, I would say, the lasting legacy is that he actually has been repairing Impact's reputation. And the thing is, we're at a stage now where we can safely say that he has repaired Impact's reputation. So now it's time for it to go to the next level.
Yeah, and that's what I feel like, that next level. I think we've been waiting for that. I've been waiting for that since they let the fans back in. But to me, the show is like it's good. It's really, really good.
I've been waiting for it since they fired Alberto El Patron.
Yeah, that's. But I've been waiting. Like, I understand the whole pandemic era, which I've said many times I didn't enjoy Impact's take on it. Just didn't. But then when they started letting people back in, the show I thought was really, really good. And more often than not, it's a good episode. But I was waiting for that next level, and it's almost the same show, except it just has fans in it. Like,
yeah.
I was expecting just something very, very different. It's the exact same presentation from We Own the Night to when it fades out, At the end of the night, it just has fans there instead. You
Yep.
know, so
I can honestly say there's been times when I've been watching the show and thinking to myself, is this really much different? Can you even tell that there's fans here? And you know, part of that is like, you know, Impact insists on making every venue look very, you know, small and tight and like whatever. But what I think they can invest in bleacher style seating. Like, I think that just looks better to have the fans elevated going up as they're, you know, like watching the show, as opposed to like those flat rows back all the time.
Yeah, because then it looks like an indie show.
Yeah. And I think, you know, you got to do whatever you can to avoid looking like an indie show, you know. But I think the problem is that they draw so poorly that you just don't want to take you don't want to rely on having the fans as part of your look when you don't know if you're going to have fans.
Right. That's what I feel that the problem was in Orlando, because I remember when we're watching on Pop TV, whether it is as a podcaster or as a fan, always so crowd look like and sound like. And you could especially see it towards the end of the tapings, it like really taper off to where there was not a whole lot of people. They did a good job of making it look like there were a lot of people there. But I know from times I was in Orlando, you know, I talk all the time about the night Eddie Edwards won the title, and the show was going on air, and I mean, there was not more than 100 people in the stands, dude. Like, I was scared to effing death. I was like, this cannot come out on television. And as the night progressed, it filled in a little more. And then when I'm watching the episode on TV, I'm like, dude, it doesn't look like there was as little people there as there really were.
Right.
So they do it, they do a pretty good job of it. But I think at one point they found it to be a real challenge.
Right.
Like, hey, we don't know who the hell's gonna show up. So now I think they might even be a little afraid to show it. But I mean, there was a time this episode where just like every other episode, it looks and it sounds exactly the effing same. But then there's a moment where they scan out and it shows all the fans, and the place was freaking packed. And I was like, dude, it doesn't sound like it's packed.
Right.
I mean, the fans sounded engaged. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying you could hear a pin drop, but I was just like, man, I don't know how they mic the fans. I don't know if they mic them at all.
Doesn't sound like
but it just seems like you can hear the people in the front, and that's it. It doesn't matter if there's 10,000 people there.
Yeah.
You're just not going to hear them. That's just basically,
No, you're right.
What I
mean, if you watch Rampage, which is an awful show, by the way, AEW Rampage
it's getting really bad. Yeah.
Wow. But if you watch Rampage, that's another thing. Like, they are playing big, well-lit arenas with tons of fans, but you can barely hear the fans because of the way they do it in post-production. So I think a lot of that's why I think Impact needs to make it a point to go live more. They need to go live more so they have more shows where people can feel the energy of the fans, because that's going to inspire fans to bring that energy when they come to the shows.
Yeah, because if I was someone who was just casually watching a show, like, hey, I catch Impact once a month, once every 2 months, the episodes are one thing, but when you watch those monthly specials, there's so much energy.
Right.
And it just looks and sounds good. I say that every single time I review them. I'm like, this looks good and it sounded good. It's a complete different energy from the wrestlers to the fans to the presentation of the show. I'm like, man, if every show was like this, of course, speaking relative, I'm not talking about a 3-hour pay-per-view, but if it was, every show was like this, something about those live broadcasts or whatever, that they just hit.
Yeah, a lot better. They sound better, they look better, they feel better. They have to do that more. Like, that's all I can say. They got to do that more. And I think, again, that's one of those things. I'm sure it's a money thing, right? Like, the answer to everything is follow the money, right? Like, if it were less expensive to go live every week, they go live every week. You know what I mean? If that was the cheapest option, that's what they would be doing. So, it's obviously the other way. you know. All right, let's move on. What's another Impact topic that's kind of been on your mind this week, or something people might have questions about, something you might have heard floating around these internets?
We'll go to some questions here. This is a mailbag episode, and we're halfway through it without taking any questions. So I don't know if this one is a Michael Spikes. I don't know if it's a joke. BQ, would you ever do a storyline with Alicia Edwards and Eddie Edwards in Impact Wrestling? I would do a storyline with Alicia Edwards. So we'll kind of
do the old Ace Austin versus Eddie storyline. Oh,
so
man.
Here we go. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I could just slide right in there. That would work. So the Black Nostalgia Nerd, he said, I saw this question on the Impact fan page, so I'm asking you guys. Question: you now own Impact, and you have a $3 billion budget to do whatever you want. How would you improve the product?
Do you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
You can go first.
Okay, so if I got $3 billion, the first thing I'm doing is calling up John Cena and writing him a blank freaking check. Okay, like the second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to again hire a high quality social team to put together, not a social team, but a digital strategy team to help me create some good marketing, some goodwill in this internet space, right? Like quality digital programming, right? Some original series, create some oh, you know what? I'd hire a production team like the Bischoff Hervey production team that was producing all that Impact content from like 2009 to like 2013 or something like that. I'd hire a production team like that to create some quality content and start doing like, documentaries and, little reality shows for like the Impact Insider, some real exclusive content. Yeah, so the digital strategy, some I'd hire, good quality post-production. No disrespect to people who do post-production now. I'd go on a marketing blitz to, to try and repair the name of Impact Wrestling. You know what I mean? Like I'd be creating videos of people talking about, I love Impact Wrestling, you know what I mean? And just splattering them all over the internet. Just, I would use that money to brainwash the world that Impact Wrestling is the hottest product they've ever had a chance to see. And and if I had a huge budget, I'd obviously sign big name talent. But here's what I do. I'd get that big name talent, I'd bring them in, and they would do jobs for my Impact originals. That's what I would do with that money.
Okay. I don't know if I can put it
$3 bajillion, BQ. What are you doing?
I don't know if I can put a dollar amount on this in particular, but I want to see them reimagine, kind of like when Ring of Honor went out of business, quote unquote, and people they said, oh, we're rethinking and reimagining our product. I would like to see them kind of reimagine and come with a new mission statement that they could really sell the wrestlers on, because I mentioned this last week and I've said it once or twice before, that the real big difference I see in TNA and Impact is that, this is prior to Bischoff and all that, was that everyone wanted to be a part of something, wanted to be a part of something big. Like you could just see it in the energy of the wrestling, the promos, the commentary, the backstage stuff. It just seemed like, hey, we want to be a part of the next big thing. And, that's the energy that, a lot of the AEW product came with early on. So I would just like to see that kind of reimagined, and then you got to sell the wrestlers or sell incoming wrestlers, like, come here if you want to be a part of something. Because right now it's like, hey, if you want to wrestle for us, we'll sign you. The the leverage is on the side of the wrestler. It seems like when it comes to negotiations with Impact. We don't know that for sure. We're not sitting in for it. We don't know what the conversations are like, but it just seems like the leverage is with everyone else but the company, and that's not really a good place to be in. Like,
Yeah.
so I would just love to see them bring in a team that can create a new vision and say, hey, you can either get with this vision or you cannot. And it's a stepping stone company. People obviously come into, hey, let me take this booking for a little bit, make some money, and then see if I can move on and do bigger things. It seems like people are coming in and they got their next step in mind,
Right.
rather than, hey, we
At
want
least you
to,
should. You should.
right.
Like look at like W Morrissey, right? He came in and like Impact was a straight up rehab stint for him, and it worked. It worked. I mean, we haven't seen him anywhere else, but he certainly did a great job of rehabbing his image and now kind of being presented as a different kind of guy. You know what I mean? And so I think you know, again, if you are somebody who finds yourself in Impact, like, look, it's a platform. It's a platform, and you can, put in some great work in Impact. And I think Impact, again, it is what it is. Like, I don't think they're willing to spend the money on anybody to truly keep them away from a larger competitor. So, what are you going to do?
And I would definitely eliminate I work backstage, I wear 10 hats. You know, I can understand wearing one or two hats. That I think any business will operate like that, but it seems like they're spread really, really thin backstage because it's almost like we know who the employees are. It's like almost
Right.
like the fans know
Yeah.
everyone who works for a company.
That's another thing I was actually going to say too, is that I would, put together the money. I would spend the money on talented business people, talented people like the Nick Khans of the world. Okay. Nick Khan is making money hand over fist for WWE. And I'm sure he's making hand over fist for himself at WWE. Like within 2 years, he's ascended to being the CEO, the co-CEO or co-chair of WWE. Like that's incredible. That's incredible. And so there's a lot of people out there who have, vision and business expertise. Go find those people and hire them. Hire them. That's what I would do. I said I'd find people who are experts in production, right? We'd have the best looking, most compelling video content of any wrestling company. I'd find people who are experts in, again, the business world, right? We'd be, licensing out our stuff to the best, whatever. You know what I mean? You'd be seeing the Impact logo anywhere and everywhere. Okay. Like, so yeah, I'd spend the money on a staff to get the brand name out there.
Yeah, because the wrestling is there. I'm yeah, you want to get some bigger talent, but the wrestling's there.
Hell yeah.
Let's move on. Mark Mello, do you guys think Eddie Edwards is a weak draw for Bound for Glory? In my opinion, he is better suited for Victory Road, and I would book Cardona go over Alexander. And take this first. I briefly said something to you before we started recording about Matt Cardona. So for those who didn't know, who didn't see on my Instagram or whatever, I didn't go to the NWA pay-per-view in St. Louis, but I went to the meet and greet. I paid for the 2-day meet and greet. I don't know why it was 2-day because I was actually kind of pissed. Side note, because 80% of the wrestlers were exactly the same on day 2. So I was a little upset about that I paid for that I paid for both days, and there was no change.
You paid to see the same people twice.
Basically. But Matt Cardona was there, and I told him, I said, man, I really thought when you had the digital media championship that was going to be some of the, I really thought you were going to be able to do something with that title, make it kind of mean something, and it was going to be one of the more entertaining parts of the show. And it didn't seem like it was getting there, and then you got hurt, and he's like, oh no, I was supposed to drop the title before getting hurt. So and his words was like, they dropped the ball on that one. And to make it clear, he wasn't talking shit about the company or anything like that. We're just, chatting to two grown men, and he's sharing his opinion, and was basically that they dropped the ball.
Yeah.
And then in the same breath, I said, and I really thought the major players, because I remember I sent this tweet out. I said, this is going to be the best part about the show going forward.
Right.
And I was convinced of that. And the major players thing happened one episode. The next episode, Morrissey is beating the shit out of them by himself. And then I think they lost the match after that, and then just gone. Just completely off the screen.
Was that the one where Morrissey got 2 handfuls of Chelsea Green's goodies before he powerbombed her?
Yeah, man. I think so. No. He got the goodies at one of the YouTube specials. Whatever. I don't even know what to call them. But yeah, we're in that general ballpark. You know what I mean? But it was like they're introduced one week, getting their ass kicked 1-on-2 the next. Wow. And he just said, I don't know what they're doing over there.
Ding, ding, ding. There it is, man. There it is.
And again, he wasn't saying it like, talking shit, but it was like he was basically agreeing with what I said, that these both had a potential to be something really good, and they were nothing, absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, is Chelsea going to be here? Or is she here? He's like, oh no, she's taping with Impact right now. And I didn't know Impact.
Right.
I did that stuff. I don't know when they're recording television today. I just watched the show. I don't really care about all that. And I said, oh, where are they recording? He's like, I don't know. Like, so it seemed like even though his wife was there, he wasn't tapped into what they're doing.
No, yeah. I mean, but again, he's hustling. Like, I'm pretty sure think of how long Matt Cardona worked for WWE, right? Like, unless he has some wild habit that is just sucking all his money up, I think he's just working now for cushion. You know what I mean? Like, he worked for WWE for a long time. If you're on TV for WWE, you're easily pulling down 6 figures. So think of how long Zack Ryder was on WWE television. Like, he's made plenty of money. And at this point, he's doing Impact and doing indies, because he wants to wrestle. Like, what else is he gonna do at this stage in his life? But yeah, like, that's going to show you, man. Impact doesn't do anything to generate loyalty among the people who work for them. You know what I mean? I mean, there's some people who seem to be pretty loyal to Impact, but it just seems like for the most part, people are like, yeah, whatever, it's a job.
Right. And that's what I was saying. We really have to eliminate that. There's too many people who come in and this is a booking, this is a job. I'm content with working here. Like Jonah came in.
Right.
Triple H will probably bring him back. He came in, did some really good stuff, but he was cool leaving. It appeared that way, at least. We don't know, but it appeared. He's like, okay, I've done, I don't need to be a part of any real storyline or chase the title, like he came in, made some money. He's like, all right, cool. So,
but again, I think it's one of those things where, there's no need to ask but too many questions. Like, believe what people show you. You can believe what people tell you, and you'll be fooled a lot of times, but believe what people show you.
As far as Eddie Edwards goes, I don't think it's a weak draw. I can see why you would say that, because what I pointed out last week or the week before was that Bound for Glory, as far as I can remember, and again, I got to go through the main events again. I meant to do that. I can't think of one that didn't feature someone who that came over from WWE.
Yeah.
It just always seems like, hey, Bound for Glory, we got to headline it with, El Patron or whoever. So this is the first time they're kind of like, hey, we got our guys doing this. We got him in the main event. My concern is going to be the promo work between the two, but Eddie's been doing pretty good so far. So I got no real complaints about it. But is it a weak draw? Yes, if you're not up on the product and you're not.
But that's the thing. Most people aren't up on the product, right? Like most people aren't up on the product. So, I mean, look, the truth is we like Eddie Edwards, but yes, he's a weak draw for Bound for Glory. He is. Eddie Edwards is not going to draw anybody to Bound for Glory that was not already going to be watching or buying Bound for Glory. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's not a big time draw. Yeah, that's one of those. It is what it is things. Plus, if you look at Impact Wrestling, they were on such a run of always having some sort of surprise influx of talent or talent exchange or something that this just looks like a plain Jane straight up pay-per-view. And like, you haven't made anybody that hot where I need to see this. You know what I mean? Like, I'll probably buy it because I talk about wrestling, for our, blogs and stuff like that. But I could 100% go without seeing this show.
I don't know if I can say that because we don't really know what's all on it. So I can't base it off 2 episodes, but Bound for Glory always has something to prove though, because every year I say, hey, when Slammiversary rolls around, like, it's gonna be a badass show. Yeah. Bound for Glory is like you're just rolling the dice.
Right.
One year it's gonna be really good. Next year it's gonna be awful. Right. It doesn't have that like consistency that and the effort a Slammiversary did. But I believe I liked last year's quite a bit. I got good feelings about this year's. Vito Scaletta, hey y'all. First time in a live lounge session. That's awesome. Do you think Cornette would ever come back to Impact? I listen to a lot of Jim Cornette, a lot. And it's not because I really like the dude. Him ragging on AEW is absolutely hilarious. And I can promise you he would have nothing to do with Impact right now. He just said, so when Motor City Machine Guns were announced for AEW for All Out, he was like, where did they wrestle? I mean, no clue. I believe they do Impact. And he's like, there are people in witness protection you can find easier than finding that program.
I don't even have the strength to argue this anymore. This is one of those things like perception is reality. The perception among people is that Impact is impossible to find. So to them, Impact is impossible to find. It is what it is. You know what I mean? Yes, it's right on YouTube. It's right on your fucking phone. It's right on your tablet. It's right on that thing that's in your pocket all the fucking time. It's a free app. It's right the fuck there. Like, but yes, Impact is impossible to find. You got to have a gel broken fire stick from Siberia with a little bit of grease on it. I don't know. I don't know what to say. You know what I mean? Like, that's the way people are. That's the way they think about it. I couldn't see Cornette returning to Impact. Actually, yes, I could, because Cornette seems like the type of guy that'll take a check from anybody who's paying it. So I think if the pay is right, I think they could certainly get Impact back. Impact could get Jim Cornette back. But the question is, do they want him? Should they want him? I'd lean no.
Sorry, we cut out a little there. Very cute dog in a photo, by the way. I wouldn't see him returning, but I would love to see him commit to watching the show for a while, because this is something I brought up before as well. All the complaints that he has about AEW, I shouldn't say all, a good majority of them are things that Impact actually does well. And I'm like, if he would actually sit and watch the program, he would be like, oh wait, this does exist. What I want from AEW that they're not giving me, like, oh, it does exist in Impact. But him and his co-hosts have conditioned themselves that it's a trash show.
Yep.
I think someone was telling me that the last time Cornette watched an episode, I think he just felt it turning it on. It was Who Shot Bravo.
Right.
And then it's like, I'm sure after watching that, he's like, I'm not watching this again.
Right.
Because to him, that's the show.
Oh, man. Yeah, there you go.
But he's so influential. That's my problem. Yes. Like on his podcast, he still talks like Impact is the trashiest, sorriest.
So let's
company
just
in the
pay
world.
him, right? Like, I'm again. Does Cornette seem like a guy who's not for sale? Like, just pay him. Buy a lucrative sponsorship to the Jim Cornette show, and he'll say nice things about you. Done and done.
Fair enough. Maybe that's what it is. He doesn't say very nice things about anyone, so
Let's
I
take
don't
one
know.
more. Let's take one more, then we get out of here.
All right.
We're coming up on an
kind
hour
of
mark, and I didn't think we were going to do this long, but we do this for you, for the people. So everybody, make sure you hit the like button. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Okay.
And next time we do a mailbag episode, we're not going to talk for the first half of it, hopefully, and we will go longer. We do have to keep this one short tonight. And we got to talk offline, TW, because I have a new work schedule starting September 12th.
Okay.
That
Me too, actually. But
really,
yeah.
okay. It should make it easier for me.
Okay, good.
So we'll talk about it. But
nice.
Perry Carey says, "Sup, TW and BQ. How you feel about Shane Taylor losing? LOL. And people think Impact is racist for letting Shane Taylor lose on Twitter."
So wait, his match was on. Okay. I think I get it. So I haven't seen the match yet. I have no idea. But I would say this, man. Like, I enjoy Impact Wrestling, but I don't know how I say this without sounding like a grouch, but like, I don't feel like Impact is focused enough on their business to be racist about it. Like, I feel like they literally are just going through the motions of getting out a wrestling show every week. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think they care enough to be like, oh, let's keep this from the blacks. But also, like, you know, Moose had a nice title run. Rich Swann he was champion. Trey Miguel was X Division champion. Chris Bay's been eating a lot of pins lately, but he's still Chris Bay. Shout out Chris Bay. Tasha Steelz was the Knockouts champion. Like, Impact has featured a lot of black and black presenting talent. They've booked him strongly. Even Moose, before and since being a world champion, he's been presented strongly. So, you know, there wouldn't be any claims to me, any validity to claims that they are, you know, presenting talent in any sort of like racist way. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I can't speak for the individual character of the people who work there behind the scenes, but as far as the way that people are presented on TV, I can't say anything like that. It's not like, you know, in some companies where you have the Acclaim coming out getting their ass kicked by people half their size every week. You know what I mean? Or you have Brandy Rhodes coming out on TV calling herself a black bitch. Like, you know, there are companies where you can make a legitimate claim, a pretty valid claim. It's not like, you know, the CEO of the company is going on Twitter trashing a black woman for talking about her own experience in the company. I wouldn't say you see any of these things in Impact Wrestling. So to me, you know, I've only seen Shane Taylor wrestle when he had the match with Kenny King at the ROH finale show, and I was impressed. I like the product. You know, the STP, the whole group. You know, I think they bring a lot to the table. You know, I think they're a very interesting group, a little bit edgy. You know what I mean? So a promotion has to be willing to get behind what they do. But to me, I think they'd be a welcome addition to Impact. I don't know who he lost to. You know what I mean? Was it a loss where
Crazy Steve?
Oh shit!
Who doesn't beat anybody?
Call the NAACP. No. Crazy Steve. God damn. Crazy Steve don't beat nobody. Okay, but still, that doesn't mean it's a race thing. Come on, man. And here's the thing. Let me say this too, man. Like, you know, racism is very real and it's very serious, and it deserves to be called out when it's a thing. So I think you can't trivialize, calling something racist. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta call that shit out when it's real and when it deserves to be called on the carpet. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't waste that bullet for something so silly.
But if you're bringing Shane Taylor in and he's taking a loss, that means
It means you don't have plans for Shane Taylor, especially if he's taking a loss to
you're not
Crazy
really bringing
Steve.
him in your show.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Correct. Because these guys will bring people in and they won't lose forever. You know what I mean? Like, I think Deonna Purrazzo wrestled for the Knockouts Championship in her third match in Impact. It was her second or third match.
Yeah.
Crazy. So yes. So losing very early into your debut, that tells me they don't have big plans for you.
Yeah. So
is that it? Is that all y'all got? Is that all y'all got? Y'all don't have a better question than is Impact racist? Come on. We can't end on that. Come on, one more.
Oh, okay. This isn't the real question, but I thought it was funny. Do you think the powers of Impact hear the criticism over Wheel in the Night being used way too long as a theme? I guarantee you they don't hear it because I've been pounding that drum for a year and a half now, and there's no change. I've even asked for just play it less, and they're playing it more. So,
well, it's actually Scott D'Amore's band who plays the song. So
yeah, there we go. Once upon a time, I had told someone in Impact, like, what's up with the song? Like, seriously. And they just said, we're not getting rid of it anytime soon. I was like, great.
All right.
Yeah. Let's see.
Whoa.
Global Force Wrestling is making a comeback. I meant to make the point earlier. When I watched the Global Force Amped, I very much felt like that would have been my favorite wrestling show if it was on TV. If they got a deal, I really enjoyed the presentation of it. Ric Flair's last match was at Nashville Fairgrounds, so not that big, but I mean,
yeah,
it was
not.
Let's see. M.A. Solko says the estimated attendance was 6,800. Ryan Hood says the wiki says 6,800. So, yeah. So it definitely wasn't 1,500. that I know. Let's see. I know we got a lot of good comments. I definitely Conrad loves promoting Paluchu. He definitely does. But I don't got a question here that I think BQ is your So I knew someone at some point had to say this, but it said BQ is your shirt still getting bookings. I bought this shirt from I had to wear that on the lounge, man. I bought it off EC3.
Nice.
That's what it is. I'm not totally turning my back on CYN without seeing what they're actually about when it really does some things. So we'll just leave it at this right here. Could Impact Wrestling do a second show 2 hours on YouTube so people who aren't used on Thursday show can be on the second show? So I wouldn't put a second show on television, but on YouTube, I definitely would. I think the fans would really want that. And even if it is Crazy Steve wrestling Peter Pajamas and John Schuyler wrestling Johnny Fuck, like even if it's squash matches, I think some of the beauty of like AEW Dark and Elevation is that you just get to see some guys win sometimes. Like, and sometimes I tune into Dark because I'm like, I want to know what this wrestler's finisher is because I don't have a clue.
I 100% would not be watching that, but I'll tell you what I would watch if they did an hour-long knockout show. I think that would be, weekly episodes where it's all knockouts and, they got their own stories going over there. You know what I mean? Some good matches. I would totally do an hour-long knockout show. I'd love it.
Yeah, and I know AEW trademarked AEW Women, so there's some rumors that they're going to be doing some kind of all women's show.
Right.
So, And again, that would be Impact being behind the curve on that one, or behind the ball, I should say.
Right.
If AEW actually did do that, I promise you, Impact Twitter would be like, "Oh, don't forget who started the women's revolution." Dude,
Right.
stop after the fact with all that stuff, man. Like,
Hell
if you
yeah.
want to,
Hell yeah.
the division is so good right now, but like, what are you doing to take it to the next level? It's good. It's really good. It's for the first time in a while you have multiple people who could be champion. That's what I love about the knockouts right now.
Right.
But what's gonna get it to the next level? Like, nothing happening on that front.
Hell yeah. All right, family. I think it's time for us to call it. Real quick, make sure that you drop a like on this video. I want to see so many likes. Go ahead and drop a comment underneath the chat. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you get to see all the great content we post here. Hit the notification bell so you get notified each and every time we drop some brand new fire content on this channel. Make sure to follow BQ. BQ, tell the people where they can find you out here in these social media streets.
At BQ Speaks, baby.
And you can follow me at TW Talking About on your social media of choice. You can also follow my podcast page at Talking About Pod. That's TALKINPO. TALKINBOUTPOD. But if you guys really want to help out the channel, the best thing you can always do is tell a friend to tell a friend. Let's bring more people into the conversation. For BQ, I'm TW. Peace.
Control your narrative.